Welcome into Locked On Knicks, and we have a great guest for you guys with this bonus episode on Free Agency Day. Gavin, who we got?
We got Antonio Daniels, 14-year NBA veteran. Love that guy in NBA Live back in the day. And we are talking Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and so much more right now on Locked On Knicks.
You are Locked On Knicks, your daily New York Knicks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, welcome in to Locked On Knicks. We want to thank you guys for making Locked On Knicks your first listen today and every day, whether you're checking us out on your favorite podcast platform or taking in the sights and sounds on YouTube where you can see ours and Antonio's smiling faces today. Yes, we said it. We are joined by Antonio Daniels, who is a color commentator for the New Orleans Pelicans and also is on Sirius XM Radio to talk about Knicks free agency today. Who are we, though? I'm Alex Wolf. I'm editor-in-chief of Knicks site, The Strickland, which you can find at thestrick.land. He's Gavin Shaw, your favorite play-by-play broadcaster's favorite play-by-play broadcaster. And I won't hold this up anymore. We've been talking enough about having this awesome guest, and it's time to get into it with Antonio.
All right, as promised, we're joined by longtime NBA veteran Antonio Daniels, also currently a color analyst for the New Orleans Pelicans and radio host for SiriusXM NBA. Antonio, thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to get started asking you about Jalen Brunson. What are your expectations in terms of what he can bring to the Knicks, as it was reported today that it seems like pretty much a sure thing he is going to end up in New York?
What can he bring to the Knicks? I think that's a big question, because when you look at what they're paying him, I think that speaks a lot. In today's NBA, people align expectation with contract. So it's not like you're paying a guy $100 million to come in and be like everybody else. That's not the way it works. I'm a big Jalen Brunson fan since college. First, I think he's a winner, period. I think he's a winner. Every situation that he has stepped into, he has excelled, and he has made those around him better. Okay, I'll say that. But I'll also say this. The reason I think the Dallas Mavericks took the proverbial step that they did in getting out of the first round since Luka was drafted was because of Jalen Brunson. He showed the ability last year to be a legitimate Robin, to Luka's Batman. But I think the Knicks feel that there's another level that Jalen Brunson has to go to. Because I don't think you give a guy that kind of contract if you feel like he was bumping his head on the ceiling in Dallas. You feel like he is capable of much more. Understand who he is playing with. He is playing with Luka, who that offense may be the most ball-dominant offense in today's NBA. It's like James Harden back with the Houston Rockets. Everything went through Luka, but he found a way to put up great numbers, almost 20 points per game. He was fantastic for them. So if I'm the Knicks, I'm taking that chance. I'm taking that chance and bringing in a point guard that I can rely on to bring that winning pedigree, that winning DNA to Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, so Antonio, it's interesting. I think you're totally correct on the basis that, Brunson is definitely a winning player. He's definitely a great complementary guy to other players, whether they're, higher usage players like Luka, or whether he's the guy that's sort of dictating the action like he had to when Luka was out during the playoffs. We obviously saw him play a huge role in that Jazz series. I'm curious what you think his fit is like with the Knicks. Obviously, fit is important. Even if a guy is super talented, they need to, work together with the teammates and the skill sets of their teammates. He's really great at getting inside and is one of the best finishers as a point guard in the NBA around the rim. But the Knicks employ some other guys that like to play that style of basketball as well.
Right.
Like RJ Barrett, quickly is pretty good at getting inside. So how do you feel about him as a fit, and how do you feel about his 3-point shooting potentially translating out over a larger sample where he might be asked to do that more and a little less of the driving with the Knicks?
Fellas, when I look at free agency, I don't pay attention to the names. I pay attention to the fit. I pay attention to the skill sets. How do those skill sets complement each other? I am probably the biggest Russell Westbrook fan there was. I covered OKC for 4 years. But the moment he went to LA, I didn't like it. Not because it's Russell Westbrook alongside LeBron James and alongside Anthony Davis. It's the fact that Russell Westbrook's skill set doesn't complement what LeBron James and Anthony Davis need. So for me, when I look at free agency and guys that are coming in or trades that are made, I'm looking at sole skill set, not the name. So when I look at Jalen Brunson alongside RJ Barrett, alongside Julius Randle, the biggest question that I have there is Julius Randle. That's the biggest question that I have. And the reason I have that question is because 2 years ago, Julius Randle was the league's most improved player. And then this past year was on the verge numerous times of getting booed at Madison Square Garden. So what kind of Julius Randle are you getting this year? Because the thing that guys have to learn how to do is when you bring in someone like Jalen Brunson, and this is what he's good at, you have to learn how to play without the basketball. And he learned to do that playing alongside Luka. But can Julius Randle now sort of transform his game to learn to play without the basketball and find different ways to be impactful and effective? Can RJ Barrett learn to transform his game to play without the basketball and find ways to be impactful as well? That's my big question. I like what the Knicks thought process is. I like what they're trying to do. I am just so interested to see how these three guys, and you guys just said it, they all do a lot of the same things. All left-handed. They all like to get to the rim. They all like the ball in their hands. But one of those three has learned to play without the ball in Jalen Brunson. Can those other two guys learn to do that same thing? Becomes the question.
All right, we're going to come back. I wanted to get Antonio's perspective on Julius Randle and if how he out. Oops, let me redo that. All right, guys, we'll be back in just a sec. I wanted to get Antonio's perspective on if he was coaching the Knicks, how he would handle the Julius Randle situation. He gives us a pretty cool answer on that, so stick around. But first, I want to tell you about something really cool, and it starts with a really cool word. Boom shakalaka. We have big news. The one and only NBA Jam is back. Arcade One Up, the leader in home retro arcade games, is not only bringing the best game ever back, but they made it bigger than ever with, wait for it, a Shaq edition. In one of the first sports games ever to feature real and digitized NBA licensed teams, no fouls, no free throws, and no quarters required. Compete with friends and family through all new Wi-Fi leaderboards, making you more connected than ever. Pre-order now from arcade1up.com. That's arcade1up.com for an estimated early September ship date. They've got even more classics like Golden Tee, Mortal Kombat, and many others starting at just $399. Check this out. They're giving away an NBA Jam Shaq edition to a Locked On listener. Enter for a chance to win a game console for your man cave at arcade1up.com/lockedon. That's arcade1up.com/lockedon. You've got till July 8th to enter to win NBA Jam Shaq edition console. Don't miss out. Enter today. Who are you going to play with?
And today's show is also brought to you by Sakara. Looking and feeling your best shouldn't mean deprivation. Instead, choose joy and abundance. Sakara's organic, plant-rich, transformational nutrition programs are designed to help you cultivate body intelligence. You can nourish your body and experience the results you want. Sakara is a wellness company anchored in food as medicine, on a mission to nourish your body through the power of plants. Sakara gives you the tools you need to transform your life with their organic, ready-to-eat meal delivery program and functional wellness essentials. Their nutritionally designed chef-crafted breakfast, lunches, and dinners are made with powerful plant-rich ingredients helping boost your energy, support your digestion, curb your sugar cravings, and get your skin glowing. Plus, it's all delivered right to your door, ready to eat. And right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when they go to sakara.com/lockedon20 or enter code LOCKEDON20 at checkout. That's Sakara, sakara.com/lockedon20 to get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/lockedon20.
Yeah, so you read my mind, Antonio. I wanted to ask you real quick about Julius specifically because he was a guy, I mean, that second season in New York, 2020-21, where they made the playoffs, the vibes were good, right? He was this incredible leader. He was a microcosm of everything that was right with that team, both on and off the court. And then last year it went so wrong. Obviously, the relationship with the fans really soured. That game against the Bulls where the Knicks actually won in the closing seconds, but he essentially didn't shoot the ball very much, didn't play very well. He was caught like slamming the ball at the end of that game, coming out allegedly asking for a trade after. If you were a veteran in that locker, or even from a different perspective, if you were coaching the team, how are you sort of handling Julius Randle from a personality perspective where he's a guy who established himself as this star, this number one target in New York, and now seemingly doesn't want to take that back seat, but arguably could be a more efficient and better player if he just embraced a slightly different role than what he had during that star season? But obviously, as you know, that's such a hard thing to do after a guy makes second team All-NBA.
For me, and as a player, I understood this, and I understand it even more now as an analyst. The NBA never has been and never will be equal opportunity. There are certain guys that have earned the right to access and conversations that other guys haven't. Julius Randle has earned that right. He's earned, I don't care what has happened and what's transpired with the fans. I get that. Winning cures all. Winning cures everything. You can easily kind of repair your relationship with the fans. But I need to sit down with my head coach, Tom Thibodeau, and ask him, what do I need to do? What is it that you need out of me so I can become the best version of myself? Now, understand that you're opening yourself up and becoming vulnerable. What that may mean is you're going to hear something in return that you may not like. That may mean, you know what, we're bringing in the guy in Jalen Brunson that we're paying $100 million. Julius, we need you to be the Robin. And we need to allow Jalen Brunson the opportunity to try and be that Batman. RJ Barrett, we need you to be Alfred. Whatever that looks like. Whatever that conversation looks like, however you break it down. When you open yourself up, you got to be ready for what's coming in return. But I feel like Julius Randle has earned the right to have that conversation with his head coach to become the best version of himself.
All right. Got to just ask one last question that you'll probably just only have a couple words for. We got to ask, as Knicks fans, with all these Dookies on the team now, and you being in New Orleans, what's things looking like with Zion Williamson at the moment?
We can't have him. We can't.
Sorry, fellas. Sorry, fellas. Ain't nothing happening. That man ain't going nowhere. I've had numerous conversations with him, and he is happy in New Orleans. He really is.
That's a bummer.
And
That's
I'm
a
not,
bummer. But
yeah, I get it. I know, you guys got RJ Barrett down there. You got Cam Reddish down there. I get it. He is very, very happy in New Orleans and ready to rock this season. Sorry, fellas.
On that sad note,
at the same time. Oh man, sorry, fellas.
On that sad note, thank you so much for popping on, Antonio. We really appreciate you coming on and taking some time to talk about free agency with us and talk Jalen Brunson. Just thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate you, man.
For sure, anytime, fellas.